Welcome to T-Smack, home of the T-Smack. May I take your order?
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to an all-new episode of Talking Smack, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I'm your host, Josh Scar, and joining me as always is my co-host, Alex. Alex, how are you doing today?
I can't even right now. As we discussed on last week's Talking Smack, it is WrestleMania, and it is airing while we're recording right now, and I can't even believe what just happened. King Kong Bundy defeated Special Delivery Jones with an assist by Jimmy Hart 10 seconds into the match. Oh, that was mind-blowing. I thought they'd maybe go into distance or something like that. Whew.
Alex, I'm DVRing WrestleMania. You can't spoil these matches for me.
But it's King Kong Bundy, man. And the Special Delivery Jones. I mean, well, we got the Iron Sheik coming up next with the U.S. Express. You know, don't you want to know what happens with Tito Santana and the Executioner?
The only thing I care about is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky the Steamboat Dragon. Ricky the Steamboat Dragon. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That is like a weird and horrible name for a wrestler.
Are you getting them confused with Steamboat Willie?
No, he's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
I don't even think
he and Macho Man Randy Savage stole the show at WrestleMania 3. Everyone talks about Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, but if you're wanting to watch good wrestling, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Macho Man Randy Savage for the Intercontinental Championship is the match to watch from that WrestleMania.
Okay, I could actually have to. I don't remember at all Ricky the Steamboat.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Sorry, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Hey,
yes,
actually,
we are recording over WrestleMania weekend, and it is also Easter weekend, so hope everyone had a happy Easter for those who celebrate. If you don't and you got a long weekend out of it, good for you. Happy for you. Love it. I didn't get a long weekend, but I don't work in an industry that allows that sort of thing. So whatever. I'm not jealous. Good for you.
No anger there at all.
None whatsoever. Nope. No. I don't know what you're talking about, Alex. Shut up.
Oh man, now that I'm looking it up, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Oh, I do remember him. I remember his like kind of like gi outfit with the nice little bandana thing going. Very awesome. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, he was like a Bruce Lee kind of gimmick, but he was much more jacked.
Yes, which is really saying something because Bruce Lee was jacked.
Yeah, Bruce Lee was like fit. Like he was just lean and muscular, but like, I mean, back then the wrestlers were taking like anabolic horse steroids and they were just putting whatever they could in themselves to make themselves bigger, which like even back then, Macho Man Randy Savage was considered small in those days.
Which is absurd. And then you just had Andre the Giant, who was just massive.
An enormous human being and nothing but lovely from everything I've heard.
Everybody loved him.
Anybody want a peanut?
Yeah, sleep and dream of very large women.
All right, Alex, we are here this week. We're doing quick hits. We're going to cover 5 different movies and TV shows, not each, but like a total of 5 different things between movies and TV shows that we've been watching, and we're going to give our Talking Smack ratings. But first and foremost, we have to hear from some more lovely people. Karen and Ann over at Sugar Coated Murder. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ann Barner.
Hey, Karen Beatty.
We need a promo. You know, like where we talk about what we do on our podcast.
On our Sugar Coated Murder podcast? Like how we love to bake and talk about murder?
That's what we need to talk about.
There you go.
I think we've talked about it. Y'all find us on all your favorite listening apps.
Stay sweet.
And don't murder.
Because if you kill people,
we will talk about you.
I love that promo so much. I know I say it every time, but I love it.
There's just something so charming about wonderful Southern women who would never say bless your heart and not mean it genuinely.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the first thing we're going to talk about today is Sinners, the new Ryan Coogler movie that came out really small detail that I really appreciated in this movie, with Karen and Ann kind of triggering it. And like, I noticed it when I saw the movie, but listening to it again and just hearing that Southern accent, I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this thing. So Sinners takes place in 1930s Mississippi. There's still plantations. There's still Jim Crow and all this awful racist bullshit happening. And one thing I have learned through my years of meeting people across many different states and regions is that if you are born and raised in Mississippi, it's not Mississippi, it's Mississippi. It's not Mississippi. It is Mississippi, Mississippi.
Mississippi.
And there's a moment in Sinners where Michael B. Jordan is talking to, I forget the actor's name, but the character that plays his cousin Sammy, who plays the guitar. He's trying to tell him, like, hey, you don't want to be like me and my brother. You go be like your dad. You go be a preacher. You go somewhere else that's not this place. You go to Mississippi. He says, you go Mississippi. And I was like, he had a good dialect coach. He said Mississippi. I knew that. It's not just him doing like an actor accent thing. He went, his dialect coach, or he knew, if you have that accent, you don't say go Mississippi. You say go Mississippi.
I love stuff like that. Like, one of the things I loathe, having grown up in Texas, is that when there is a person who, whether they're not from the South, or I'm just going to use Britain because British actors try to do a Southern accent, it's never right. It is always like maybe North Carolina by way of like Michigan adjacent. And it's because they do that thing that I absolutely loathe, which, I mean, to be fair, we do it to anyone who's Russian, is that you take a... Yeah. Yelena, Florence Pugh, and David Harbour, they do the somewhere maybe near Moscow Russian accent.
They do the generic Eastern European Russian accent, like just a little nasally, and we go, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so knowing that, because I didn't get a chance to see Sinners, I hope to tomorrow, but knowing that makes me so happy, because there are so many regional dialects to the South. And if you're from a certain place, you're going to pronounce it a certain way. And so you best be careful. It's like do you call everything soda, or do you call it Coke? Or is it pop? That really tells you kind of like what general region from the U.S. you are. You have one of three options.
I think if it's like Southeast Coast, it's just Coke, no matter what it is. Like from like North Carolina to Florida, it's Coke.
Yeah. What kind of Coke do you want? No, I'll take a Coke. What kind? Oh, Coke.
Pepsi?
Coke. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Or Pepsi.
Pepsi Coke.
Now, if you're a real Southerner, you say Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. But Sinners, so good. It's a talking smack must see. Ryan Coogler, don't miss. From the trailers, you already kind of know the story of it, but if I'm going to summarize it in like a non-spoilery way, let me put it this way. What if Ryan Coogler made a Southern musical with a little bit of From Dusk Till Dawn inspiration? See,
I've watched, let me see, I think there's been 3 official trailers, and the first one was kind of generic. Well, not generic. It really set the mood that this is like a 30s, 40s Southern mood kind of film. It's a kind of film where everybody's sweating no matter what time of day it is or night.
They're wearing wool for stupid reasons,
right?
Even though cotton is being processed now.
Yeah, exactly. And then the second one, full on spoilers about stuff, which is it kind of drove me nuts. But really one of the questions I have for you is how much like mysticism do they like kind of lean into? Because there was because that second and third trailer kind of leaned heavily into the whole like the devil went down to Georgia kind of feel that this person plays guitar and he summons things. So there's a lot of really good cinematography in this movie, and there's one sequence in particular when they do the thing that they do in the trailer where they're like, oh, you can play music so well that it opens up the gateways between past, present, and future, and this world and the next.
And they lay the groundwork in the opening narration where they say that evil is usually the one that comes through. There's no foreshadowing of like good's going to come through or anything like that. Like that's not part of this movie. Once you get to a certain point, it pretty much just becomes From Dusk Till Dawn. Just again with like a musical element to it, and personally, I think a little better acting. But there is quite a bit of mysticism lingering in the background. They don't go too deep into it, but there is a character who is like, I don't want to say she's like a voodoo mama. That's like a little too stereotypical.
Yeah.
But she has like this underlying knowledge of mysticism and monster lore from different cultures, particularly African culture, because obviously she's of African descent, being in the South in the 1930s. Which again, forgetting the actress's name, but it's B-15 from Loki plays this character.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. And I cannot think of their name. But I know who he's exactly mean.
Ryan Coogler does the Ryan Coogler thing where he gets everyone's like A+ game. Like there is not a weak link in this movie, and there is not a bad performance in any of it. If there is a single complaint I have, and maybe I think it's intentional, but Delroy Lindy is in this movie. Delroy Lindy is a legend. He plays a drunk pianist, harmonica musician.
Ooh.
And you cannot understand a damn word he says, at least not in my theater experience. And like until like towards the end of the movie, he's kind of the guy in the guy in The Waterboy, where he's just talking in that Cajun, Bobby Boucher. Like, okay, Delroy, I believe you're doing a good job, but I don't know what you're saying.
I have two questions. One's about the location. One's about the performances. I'll ask the probably the simpler one first. Is this all set in like one building? Because the trailers make it seem like there's one barn, speakeasy, dance hall.
There's probably about 70 minutes of setup before you get to the final location of the movie.
Really?
So the premise is Michael B. Jordan plays a set of twins, the Smokestack twins, who are just returning from abandoning the Al Capone mafia. Like they were in the mafia and they've left. They've made their money and they're out. They're coming back home because they were essentially sold a bill of lies saying that in the North, especially in Chicago, Jim Crow doesn't exist. You're going to be treated like a free man. And that wasn't true. So they came home with the riches that they could acquire, and they're going to take care of their hometown. And the first hour of the movie, hour and 10 minutes or so, is them buying this barn that they're going to turn into a nightclub, essentially a 1930s nightclub. And they're going around acquiring staff and food and everything that they need to open up this club tonight. And then from that point on, once they get to the club, they get everything set up. It is essentially one location until the last like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. So my second question is, as Michael B. Jordan is playing both sets of twins, can you tell which twin it is, like based off performance, not them doing? Because a lot of them, like they do like the whole like, well, this one always wears white and this one always wears orange, or like they differentiate it by that, or by pairing them off with like whoever, one. Well, this is the twin who has a spouse, and this is a twin that does not.
So minor spoilers for the movie. It's literally the first time you see the smoke. They're called the Smokestack twins. One's named Smoke, one's named Stack, or they're called. Their actual names are revealed later in the movie, and it's supposed to be kind of meaningful, but it's more just like, oh, they're people. But the first time you see them, they do this really cool trick where one of them rolls a cigarette, lights it, they have the twin light it, and then they take a drag off of it, then they hand it off to the twin drags off of it, and they're like talking back and forth at the same time. Like it's all one take. You don't see like cuts or anything like that. They're showing off the technology of how good they can make it. From where I was sitting in my theater, I was like, okay, this is probably like forced perspective, or they did like that old school trick of like they'd film the same thing twice since it's a stagnant camera, and they just like had a body double in, and then they had him come out, and then they just recreated the choreography, and then they blended the two. And they do a good job of characterizing them. Like Smoke is a little more, he's more business. there's a moment where someone's trying to steal from him and he just shoots him right in the ass. And then the guy who he shot, his accomplice is like trying to run away. He's like, oh man, I didn't know it was you, Smoke. I didn't know. I won't say anything. And he's just like, I just got back home, man. I don't want to be doing this shit. I don't want to be shooting people. I was here to have a good time. And then he takes a second and then he shoots the other guy right in the leg. And the guy's like, what the fuck did you do that for? He's like, I can't let anyone walk away thinking that I didn't let him just go without getting a limp at the very least. Like I got a rep to maintain.
That's
and then
awesome.
Stack is the dumb one. Like he's the guy who leads with his heart and he just kind of, he doesn't have the brains for the operation. He got all the heart, Smoke got all the brains. And that's kind of how they differentiate the two. And
That's
Michael B.
cool.
Jordan plays both characteristics up really well.
That's awesome. So you said this is a must see. I mean, is this like go to the theater right now and see it? Is it well worth it just for that? I mean, because we're both Ryan Coogler fanboys. So
Yeah, I'm a big Ryan Coogler fanboy. I don't do horror movies, and this movie in the first
I was going to ask
3
about
minutes,
that. Yeah.
This movie in the first like 3 minutes is like. By the way, remember this is a scary movie because they throw like 3 jump scares at you in the first 3 minutes, and like there was someone in behind me, which like a fun theater going experience for me, but also a frustrating one because I had a good crowd of people that were making comments at the right times. So like the first like 3 minutes where you get the final like jump scare, one person was just like, Jesus Christ, I fucking hate these things. It was just in succession where they're just like, oh, okay. All right. Okay. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Oh, God damn it. Stop it. Okay, I think we're good. God damn it, no. Somewhere towards the end of the movie when it starts becoming more from dusk till dawn, someone decided they really needed to have a texting conversation just to the front right of me. And they would not put their fucking phone away. And so I got up at one point where I was like, okay, I'm going to risk it and hope that I can find someone quick, which thankfully there were guys cleaning out a theater just to the right of me. Like they were just pulling the bags out. I'm like, hey, someone's got their phone out. I'm missing the fucking movie. Get their ass out of here. Do whatever you need to do. They're like, oh, this is like the 4th time we've been brought into that theater. I guess more people were being dicks about having their phones out during this movie. I think they were expecting like more thrills than they were getting in the first hour. If I have any kind of complaint in this movie, I think to answer your question, I think it is something that you should see because it's a fun vampire movie that also has the Ryan Coogler classic like racism analogy or allegory storylines, which are very important right now. But if there is a complaint I have that keeps it from being like an amazingly perfect movie, I think it's the cast is a little overstuffed. There are too many storylines. And I think that when they get to the from dusk till dawn portion of the movie, I think there's too many vampires because like everyone who's in the club at a certain point essentially just becomes a vampire. Like a big chunk of the group just leaves the building. And then the final third of the movie, you see all of them just come back and they're vampires now. And I'm like, that's too many. Like, what are we doing here? Because I wanted something like a little more personal. Like you can do more with less. And I think they either Coogler just wanted to do a from dusk till dawn thing, or maybe there was studio interference where they're like, we need more action in this. Can we get more action? He's like, all right, fine. We'll do like a zombie thing, I guess, for a minute with the vampires that I'm trying to use.
Oh, I didn't realize this, but Ryan Coogler has not directed a film in which Michael B. Jordan is not in.
Michael B. Jordan is his guy. That's his good luck charm. Unlike Tim Burton, he's not going to leave him.
Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Sinners.
Which Wakanda Forever is probably the closest that he's gotten to know Michael B. Jordan in his movie because it's pretty much just a glorified cameo.
Yeah, but it counts.
It does. He would have had him in more if he had thought longer about it.
Yeah, he's like, can I resurrect him? Maybe I can just set this all in the in that flower.
We're doing multiverse shit now. Can I just do a good Killmonger?
Man, I'm so excited to see this tomorrow. It just makes me happy.
I think it's worth it. It's probably my favorite movie of the year so far.
Awesome.
Not that I've seen too many movies this year. All right. So, Alex, next we're going to talk about a movie or a TV show. It is called, and let me take a breath here because this is going to take a second. I may be a guild receptionist, but I'll solo any boss to clock out on time.
I love this
That
show.
is the full title of this anime.
And it is amazing.
So I like the first 6 episodes of this, but I felt like this was a 12 episode season, maybe 13. I think it was 12. The first 6, really interesting, super fun. Last 6 felt a lot of the same to me.
Yes. So for anyone wanting to know what this show is about, it is about a guild receptionist who will solo any boss so she can clock out on time. It is right there on the cover. What happens, it's in a world where, of course, there's guilds and they're fighting stuff, but as she's the guild receptionist, whenever they go off on missions, something happens in the city, she gets dealt all the paperwork and she is just tired of overtime. She ends up getting quietly ranked herself by being allotted a Dia skill, which basically is like your S rank power or something like that. Basically, everyone has a different one. Hers ends up being that basically she can take on anything so long as she's trying to prevent working overtime. It's fun. I really enjoy it because she is this reluctant protagonist who absolutely loathes adventurers.
Yeah, so the gimmick of it is that, yeah, she's a guild receptionist. The reason she's a guild receptionist is because she wanted to become an adventurer, but something happened where the adventurer she wanted to partner with died. Like, minor spoilers. I think this is revealed in like episode 2 or 3. It's not a huge deal. And so as the adventurer is dying, he tells her, like, don't be an adventurer. It kind of sucks. Go have a normal life, work a normal job, enjoy life as you can. And so she takes that to heart and she's like, okay, I'm going to do that because that was your dying wish. And I really cared about you. And so having to work overtime is preventing her from living her life the way she wants to in a lovely, peaceful way. Yeah. Even though it seems like they imply that she basically would, if it existed in her world, she would just go home and play video games. But she just wants to like go home and take a bubble bath or something.
Yep.
It's super cute. I dig the cast. I dig the characters. I just think that doing essentially the same thing 3 times in a row over like sequential 3 episode arcs really dragged it down because they were building towards something with I'm forgetting her name now. It's Alina, yeah. Alina and Silver Sword, but they got sidetracked because they needed to fight a dark god 3 separate times because events happened. And there's something there with this show. I just feel like they kept trying to establish the stakes, even though they did a really good job the first time of establishing the stakes of like, what is a dark god? What can they do compared to these other characters who most of them have A rank skills, but these dark gods have other additional S ranks and they can absorb other skills and use them in concert.
I mean, I feel it too. I partially wonder because this is one of those animes where they were writing as the author was writing book. They were animating as the author was pumping out the manga, and it looks like there was like a gap of maybe like a year or year and a half where the author didn't release anything, then started releasing again. So I kind of wonder if like they were like, well, we already have 12 episodes. We've caught up to the manga. We're just going to draw out these issues.
That's a Slade like question for sure. Yeah. I'm sure he would know.
I do agree with you, especially since they do that. As you said, they drag out this fight over 3 episodes and then they pretty much just pivot and do it again. I do agree that that gets very tiresome, but I think the main character, her whimsy and joy, I live for the after battle when she is doing the paperwork and just angry doing it, and then the other guild receptionists are there as well, and they're like slowly filling out the paperwork little by little, and she has this giant stack and she's just burning through and then screaming at them. To me it's just charming. I am so charmed because I have felt that way. Like there's just all this work to do. I am completing it because I want to go home. And it's like my coworkers are just dragging ass. And I'm like, I hate you all.
Yeah, I think it does capture a lot of the customer service side of life, because I've worked that job, and I think I sent a screen capture to Becky of just a caption that I saw where she's just having this internal monologue where some guy was showing up like right as she was locking the door. He's like, hey, I need to do a thing. And she's like, I'm locking the fucking door. Don't do it. And he's like, I'm doing it because you're nice to me, right? She puts on the happy face and she's like, of course, sir. Let's just go and do the thing so I can get out of here, please. And then he just takes up all of her time telling stories and being so excited about shit that she's just like, no, stop talking. And I'm like, that's me. That was me 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, no, I love it. So, Josh, to stick with anime, I need you to watch Solo Leveling. I know
that
it's on your
has
list.
come to my list. Among other things, Joey is apparently watching it and liking it from the recommendation of the Biased Anime Pod Boys over on the Game Club Pod Network. So that one is definitely in my list here, but please indulge me more as to why I need to watch Solo Leveling.
Well, to give it some acclaim, it is the highest rated Crunchyroll show of all time. It's the first.
Really?
Yes, it is the first.
Even more than Attack on Titan?
It is the first show that ever got 300,000 approval ratings on one of their episodes. That then also was the first show to get 400, 500, and then 600,000.
Yikes.
For an episode. I'm angry that they haven't announced season 3 yet. That's fine. It's fine. The books are done.
They just wrapped up season 2, didn't they?
Yes, but they haven't announced season 3 yet.
Fair.
It's fine. Especially since the manga was finished like 6 years ago. So they could do it. But anyways, so it's
you
a
would
modern
think they would have
war.
announced a season 3 after they got 500,000 approval ratings on Crunchyroll.
You'd think.
on an episode.
Here's the best part about that. That's the non-dub episode, because they were doing the whole release day and date release with Japan, which, okay, I'll get to it. What I love about it, no, I'm going to say it. So the main character is Jinwoo, and for people who love the manga, they absolutely there's iconic moments of it, and of course the manga authors are a lot more involved with animation than in the US, where the US, they're like, here's a check and screw you, bye. They have a lot tighter copyright laws and assertion over control of intellectual property. So there's at the end of the first season, a big event happens, and they were wondering, would the voice work match the reverence of the words spoken on the page? And the Japanese the Japanese voice actor was given all praise for how they delivered the lines. So people were like tweeting, Instagramming, whatever, the English voice actor of like, you need to nail this line. And he replied back like, trust me, I know. And so he, once the episode aired with the dub, he released a video of him doing like take after take of like, it's not right, I have to do it over. And he did it right. Fans were like, yeah, because it's this amazing line. So what it is it's
that Buffalo Wild Wings meme where they have like everyone looking at the screen and then the whole place erupts, but It's just that guy saying the line properly.
Mm-hmm. So basically, it's a world where you have ranks, of course. You can become a ranked adventurer kind of thing, but they're not adventurers, they're hunters. So there's these deadly monsters that have been attacking the world, and it focuses on Sung Jin Woo, who is an E rank. Now, what happens is once you're taking the test to get ranked, you're essentially that rank forever. It's just your innate magical abilities, powers, whatever. What happens is there are some islands outside of Japan and of course the other continents where I know Japan's not a continent, it's a country, but you know what I'm saying. There are islands where there's like these evil creatures, basically ants. They actually the English dub just calls them ants, but they're monstrous sized and they're getting intelligence and learning to adapt and like fly. That's a concern in the future. Right now, the concern is out of nowhere, portals are open that they call dungeons, and the dungeons have colors to them, and it tells you how dangerous the dungeon is. And his mom, when his magical ability kind of manifests, his mom gets sick and goes into a coma, and it's a sickness that no one has ever woken up from. But he's determined to take care of his younger sister, and he's going to figure it out. So he becomes a hunter. He gets ranked Z rank. He goes into a party. They're fighting this dungeon. It turns out it's a harder dungeon than expected. And they abandon him so they can close it off. And he just gets destroyed and murdered, dead. But he wakes up. And he wakes up and there's a chat bubble basically in front of him saying, would you like some abilities? And it gives him a list of conditions that if he accepts, he will be alive. But he has to do these things every day. Or if he doesn't do them, he gets punished. And so he accepts it because he's like, okay.
So it's like an inverse Groundhog Day where he gets the clues on the things he has to do.
Yeah. So he treats it like a video game. He's like, oh, I have daily tasks. And occasionally he's going out and doing these tasks and he gets distracted or he has this home life stuff going on. And he finds out the punishment. The punishment is like he gets sent to a sub dungeon where he has to complete a task. And if he doesn't, he just gets murdered. So then he ends up in the whole Dormammu, I've come to bargain thing, where he's just getting destroyed unless he finishes it. And then what he does, he's paid the penalty and now he gets back to the real world. No one else has this. And he's kind of like brought it up like, does anyone else get chat bubbles? But he's realizing he's getting powerful. And so he's going off with new adventuring parties that are B rank, C rank, and stuff like that. They're like, well, why are you coming around, you E rank? So he gets retested because occasionally he does some things and people notice and they get retested, but he always tests E rank. But he's leveling up. He knows he's leveling up because in this game that the chat bubbles will pop up. It's like, yo, you've unlocked a new skill. Oh, this is your experience points for assisting these people. And then he's getting all these points and he knows he's leveling up, but his appearance isn't changing. But now he has to start hiding himself because he doesn't want too much attention. And it's really, really good because the way it is animated is gorgeous. The voice work is amazing. The characters that start coming around, like the other B, C rank, S rank people, you start to get to know the hunters guilds, what is happening, his concern for his mom. He starts striking out on his own towards the second season. He's really doing his own thing, but he's still, the world is intruding upon his life kind of thing. And it's so good because even though he is probably the most powerful, midway through season 2, he's probably the most powerful person in the world. He still is being challenged by himself. It is kind of like the Spider-Man thing where he's putting his own in positions and his own family struggle beyond being what he could be. And as he is fighting these more destructive things and these more powerful beings and the ants, these dungeons, you're rooting for him and you're rooting for him to overcome. And it never seems like it doesn't really do that Dragon Ball Z thing where it seems like, oh, so next he's going to fight this thing, which is of course over 5,000. And then he has to fight the next thing over 10,000. Whatever it's being thrown at him is because he's imposing it upon himself, but also he doesn't want anyone to know he's S rank. And then at one point he's like, he realizes I'm probably not even S rank anymore. I'm probably above this. But he can't let people know, and he can't. And the struggle is, I can't let my sister know. I have to find something for my mother, and I can't let the world know what's happening with me. And it's so damn good.
Interesting. All right, Alex, I also need you to tell me about The Pitt. What is The Pitt besides a catchy song from Parks and Rec?
Well, first off, I just want to let you know really quickly, Andre the Giant did defeat Big John Studd. So we got that going for us.
Well, yeah, we kind of knew that one.
Yeah, I know. But did you know that Wendy Richter...
John Studd did not want a peanut.
But did you know Wendy Richter and Cyndi Lauper defeated Leela Key and the Fabulous Moolah?
Cyndi Lauper made a surprise WrestleMania appearance? I didn't know that.
WrestleMania 1, the women's match.
Time after time.
Okay, so my favorite thing about The Pit is there's a lawsuit going on right now because Noah Wyle is in it. So Noah Wyle, who was Dr. Carter from ER 30 years ago.
Okay, that's where I know the name. Okay.
And R. Scott Gimel, who was one of the producers of ER. They actually were talking about bringing ER back. And so they went to the estate of Michael Crichton, who created, executive produced ER. And they couldn't work a deal out. So they went, okay, we'll just do something different. So they went, we're going to do ER, the 24 show. It is a one shift of Noah Wile's character in Pittsburgh Trauma Unit. And he's in the ER. It is 15 episodes. Each episode is 1 hour of his shift. It is wildly compelling because what happens, is that he shows up for his shift, obviously. So as he arrives, he is the head ER doctor, and he gets basically a list of here's everyone who's currently being treated, here's everyone who's waiting, and then of course emergencies come in. People are coming in from the ambulances and stuff like that, and each patient is not resolved in that hour. It just continues to pile up. Like, yeah, he discharges some people like in hour 2 and 3, but then people that showed up in hour 1 and 2 are still need to be treated. There's complications. Some people are coming because there's an accident. Someone comes in because they're coding. You are also getting all the other doctors who are going around. Like there's a senior resident. There are some other senior residents and the right-hand people there. By the way, I love Fiona Dwarf. Fiona Dwarf is, of course, Brad Dwarf, also known as Wormtongue's daughter. And she is in the Chucky movies, and I absolutely adore her. And she is in the show as one of the doctors. Spoiler alert, her dad shows up. Guess who plays her dad?
Is it Wormtongue?
It is. And you have all these, you have also, of course, second year residents and some interns that are showing up, and it's how he has to deal with that. While Noah Wiley's character, they call him Robbie, how he's dealing with the pressure that comes from the hospital board of like, hey, listen, I know you're treating people here in the ER, but you need to be treating them quicker. And also the patient satisfaction has got to go up because our numbers are going down. And he's like, what do you want me to do? We only have this many beds. We have to send them upstairs, but there's not enough beds upstairs. And also we're understaffed. And he's also, what is also compelling about it is he's dealing with the trauma of COVID, because during COVID, they were doing all that stuff. He was working as a doctor then, and he lost patients, but also he lost like a friend. And he hasn't resolved any of that. And then there's also, they're dealing with some other things like patient responsibility, patient confidentiality. What happens when someone comes in and they're giving like false information? They still treat them, but how do they treat them? Can they usher the patient towards being assisted, like, towards public health assistance and like mental health stuff? And so it's this very, very gnarly, just raw look at what a shift in a hospital is like when you're stuck in the ER. And they don't really leave the ER. They go outside to like go to the ambulance and stuff like that, but it's basically centered in this area. And what is really cool about it is that with the typical TV show, every episode you have new extras hanging out in the background. No, these extras were on set the entire 7 months of the shoot. So if you were a patient, like you were at episode 1, you're a patient sitting there in the waiting room to get treated, you could be sitting there till like episode 9 before you're treated. And so you're being paid to sit there the entire time of like, hey, listen, this is happening. This is your job for a while. And everything I've read about it that's come out of it, I've seen a lot of like medical professional influencers talk about basically this show is so realistic. It is actually giving me flashbacks of like what is happening, because they try to do real procedures as much as possible, not ham it up for like, oh, we're gonna like do this with this splint and this thing and this here, and take this scalpel and do this. But also everybody who's been on the set of the Pitt who talks about it talks about how it was such a joy to be on, because Noah Wiley and the executive producers made it a fun set where, yes, we're dealing with this stuff and we're all stuck here together, guys. We have to have the same haircut for 7 months, but we're doing this together. So I really, really like it. I like the prosthetics. I like the work they're doing. Now, there is a bit of people who are sensitive to some situations. There are many tear-jerking moments, because one of them is someone came in with an overdose, a college student who accidentally got fentanyl in his drugs and ended up, through the course of several episodes, was then declared brain dead, then had to talk to the parents. Then they had to make a decision and it doesn't speed it up. It's like happening, like this episode's now this is happening. Now this is happening. And he's following up with all these people. And you're also learning all the other doctors at how they treat their bedside manner with their patients, and conflicts of like, you're spending too much time, but you're just being rude. You're not listening to your patients and stuff like that. And so it was quite painful. Some of the episodes were talking about like, what do you do when your young son is overdosed, or what do you do when your elderly parent with severe dementia doesn't know where they are anymore and is coding. but there is some lighthearted stuff in there. Like one of the doctors, like every other episode, ends up with like some kind of blood spray on him, so he has to go change his scrubs out. So actually, it's a great ongoing joke of like, great, like he has to go to the scrub machine, and so he's standing there in the hallway, like in his underwear, because the scrub machine doesn't allow you to get new scrubs until you put the old ones in. It was a really good show, and I'm so happy they basically stole the 24 format and put it in a hospital, because you learn about every patient and you learn the doctor's nuances and you see their exhaustion as they're just dealing with trauma after issue, and it's good.
That is a gimmick that I'm surprised has not been taken advantage of more in the medical field, because real-time movies, TV shows, the gimmick works for the most part if you can make it compelling enough, which like 24 worked because we were in a post 9/11 era and the anti-terrorism task force, whatever Jack Bauer was a part of.
Yeah.
Like the first 3 seasons of that show were really good.
Oh yeah. Amazing.
I mean, really some ridiculous stuff towards the end of each season. Like I remember, I think it was season 2 or 3. He's running around in the middle of a school with a bioweapon, and Kiefer Sutherland's just like shuffling through the hallway, just like, like he's a pizza delivery man, like trying to find the apartment before the 30-minute timer is done on the free pizza. Yeah, like and I remember, I think season 2 is also the one where they just really went for it with the retired guy is coming back and he's going to shave his beard, so you know he means business. Yeah, like I remember that so vividly in season 2. Like he's so broken up over the events of season 1. He and his wife have separated in the year since, and he's grown the beard. He's just disheveled and so depressed. But now they need Jack Bauer back. And you got Jack Bauer back, baby, because the beard is gone. I used my Norelco electric shaver that pushes out the cream, and so I don't have to worry about it tugging at my skin and all that early 2000s electric razor bullshit. Like, it was such a good show for 3 years, and then they just went like 4 years too long. But in a medical field, I can see that being really compelling, because you can focus on a lot of doctors. You can kind of blend Scrubs with 24, but you use that ER formula as well to keep it more dramatic. Yeah, that sounds really good. What is that, on Peacock, or where would someone find the Pitt?
It is on Max, which...
Oh, okay, so I can't watch it.
Yeah, and I just realized they pushed a new app update, and now it's no longer blue. It's like a dark gray app color. And
wasn't it purple for a long while?
It was, and then it was like this really rich blue, and now it's like purple. I mean, it's like gray.
Huh.
Oh, speaking of the 24, the Jack Bauer thing, the joke was always that when does Jack go to the bathroom? And he's like, and they're like, oh, during commercial breaks. I think it's episode like 3. Maybe, or 4.
It's episode 1 of season 2 where he goes to the bathroom to shave.
No, I meant in the Pit. Robbie says like, I need to pee, and he tries to go to the bathroom, but somebody pulls him away for something, and then the entire episode he's stuck, like not being able to go. And
it's just like, about him having to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and then it's like the next episode, like right at the beginning, he's like, it just cuts to him in the urinal just peeing. He's like leaned up against the wall, like, oh God, this feels so good.
There's nothing like a good pee when you've had to go for a while and you finally get that opportunity. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Like, I don't know if there's ever such a sense of relief than when you finally go to the bathroom after holding it in for so long.
Yeah. Before you tell me a little bit about Daredevil, brand new Born Again Day, the reboot, I would like to let you know that
brand new day is Spider-Man. Come on.
That Ricky Steamboat did just defeat Hercules Hernandez. It was a great match.
As we all knew he would, because he's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Ricky
and
the Steamboat Dragon.
And Andre the Giant defeated Bret Hart, as we expected.
I guess they were in the WWE at the same time for a little while. Late 80s.
Hey, according to this, was WrestleMania 2.
What?
Yup.
Oh, yeah. Bret he went to the WWE. He didn't cut it the mustard. And then he came back with Jim Neidhart to be the Hart Foundation, if I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Still weird to think that Bret Hart was in a match with Andre the Giant, a squash match with Andre the Giant. So before we get into Daredevil Born Again, we're doing Netflix, but on Disney Plus. I have to ask, have you watched Wicked yet? Okay, moving on.
No. It was better than expected. You can shut the hell up, okay?
Yes. That's what I told you in our review. I said, Alex, this is good. We didn't want it to be.
I don't know how
think it would be.
Okay, I don't know how, but it was good. Okay, just shut up and move on. Okay, I'm excited for the second one. Go on.
No, it's for good. Yeah, I don't know how they pulled that off, but Daredevil Born Again, the long gestating Daredevil continuation of the Netflix series that had been rewritten, restructured twice, I think.
Yep.
Where after, I think it was, they were going to do the thing where they had been doing just like a really long movie for however many episodes. And I think it was originally slated for 18 episodes per season. But because of these rewrites, they restructured it into 9 episodes per season over 2 seasons. Or maybe it was just 18 episodes over whatever. I don't remember. But Daredevil Born Again, a lot of the rumors were true in the sense that there's not a lot of Daredevil. It's definitely more Matt focused. Like, I think we get an extended Daredevil sequence in the beginning of the season. That's supposed to pretty much just satisfy us until like episode 5 or 6.
Okay.
And then finally, there's literally a moment where he goes, fuck it. And he goes and just becomes Daredevil again.
But wait, does he actually literally say fuck it?
Yes, there's lots of F-bombs.
Oh, okay. So
they do the Netflix stuff all over again.
No. Deadpool has opened the door. We can use the F word now. Repeatedly.
Hey, our Lord and Savior James Gunn opened the door because he said open the fucking door in Guardians 3.
And Star-Lord has not been seen since.
Did you watch the Superman featurette? Tangent, sidebar here.
Yeah.
So I liked a lot of the behind the scenes imagery. If I had watched that on mute, I would have been like, I am very excited for this. I'm pretty sure all of them are saying, hey, this is a Superman we've never seen before. Hey, this is Superman that's hopeful. This is a Superman that's, golly gee willikers, Lois. I sure do find you to be fanciful. Like shit like that. Like he's the Boy Scout Superman and we're excited to have him. Putting the volume on and looking at other people doing more shit than I cared to do in this Superman featurette that's like 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. They say James Gunn 40 times.
Wow.
This is as much about James Gunn as it is about Superman.
A little bit.
And like, you and I are not the biggest James Gunn fans. We have voiced our opinions and fears about what this Superman movie will be. And we've also touched on the fact that like James Gunn, since moving on from Marvel, has just gone like mega maniacal egotistical.
Yeah.
Like as many syllables as you can throw into it and then add egotistical in front of it. He has like inserted himself into the Creature Commandos intro sequence as an animated character. People are speculating that like Rick Flag Sr. seems to be more of an insert for James Gunn than it is Frank Grillo. And just any time I see him talking about this movie, it is very much more about him and how he needed to process who is Superman. What is this? How do I connect with this? What do I do? And the very first thing, if I'm remembering the thing properly, the very first thing we hear about this movie is that Peter Safran is like, I got a phone call from James Gunn. He's like, I have my way in. You don't want to present Superman as like this super complex character that no one has done properly before. Superman is a character that, yes, is a little complicated in today's era because people want dark and gritty. They don't want hope. They want heroes that kill and all this other bullshit that we don't really need from our heroes.
Not really.
And that's where I'm like, the Superman looks right, but does James Gunn actually know what's right for Superman? And is he going to be too busy playing with his toys? Because like that clip that came out of him getting beat up by Crypto and seeing the Superbots and stuff like that, I liked it. Although I know you didn't care for the robot joke where like, we're just animatons, like we don't have emotions. And then immediately the new robot goes like, he looked at me. Oh my God.
Yeah. To me, it's a little bit more was the tone. Like, I didn't particularly like that Crypto was hopping on him and they were adding those like very loud, painful thunks.
Because he's a super pup.
I know
he's super strong, and he can. Superman's already hurt. Like, you've had a pet that you have cats.
Oh yeah,
your cats can have like super stiff steps, and
Oh, yeah.
like they hit you in the wrong spot, and you're going. Ugh. And I found that to be a really relatable pet owner.
Yeah,
moment.
I got that, but to me it went a little long, and then it made me like wonder, like later on, is like, are people going to play with like normal people play with crypto, and if people play with crypto, but in theory, animals don't really know how to play softly. They know how to play as they play.
You just ruined that gag that's definitely going to be in this movie, where Superman's going to have crypto while he's investigating with Mr. Terrific, and a kid's going to like hand him a tug toy, and then Crypto's just going to go flying up in the air with the kid.
Yes.
And Superman's going to have to go chasing after him. He's going to be like, I'm sorry. And he's new.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I want it to be good. I'm going to be there opening weekend. I am hoping it is good, because the thing is, like, I want good, fun superhero movies. I know that we have been spoiled the last 16 years by Marvel, and even before then, I mean, the Spider-Man trilogy and the first few, I mean, the X-Men, for, you know, better or worse, basically every other movie was good, kind of thing. So I'm hopeful that it's good, because I want to continue this through line of good, fun ones, and I want a Superman I can be happy about. I thought Henry Cavill was a good Superman. I think the movies did him a pretty shitty disservice.
He was a great casting choice for Superman. Yeah. Can't argue that. His scripts and the characterization of his character from the director and the writer, awful. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
I mean, Sid looked great. I thought that looked good. I
needed Trunks.
Probably. Zod, we had a great Zod. Came back twice.
Yeah. Michael Shannon, like, who knew Michael Shannon could play Zod so well, like to the point where he is probably the face of Zod now?
Oh yeah. And I mean, I have rewatched in the last, I don't know, maybe 6-7 years, those first two Superman movies. I even watched the Donner cut of the second one. They're great movies. You know, Christopher Reeves does an amazing job as Superman. They hold up. I mean, yes, the tech is old and all that crap, but the moral, the story, the hope, that holds up. So I'm hopeful that this is a great Superman. I mean, he does have a good look to him. Can't deny that.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Daredevil.
Who now says fuck.
Yeah, Daredevil says fuck. Dude, in episode 9, there's a moment that gives Game of Thrones like a run for its money. That's all I'll say for that one. Leave that to your imagination.
Does Kingpin?
He kingpins, like, it makes the car door slamming nothing compared to what he does in this moment. Nothing.
Man, the Netflix Daredevil, I knew the actor who was his assistant absolutely loved, and I knew that Vincent D'Onofrio was perfect as Kingpin because of that car door moment. I just absolutely loved it. The SUV driving. And the assistant answers the phone. It's like, yes, left side or something, like, it's just like very casual. He knows this person's about to get the crap kicked out of him, if not murdered. Yes, driver's side. And then, because you ruined his dinner.
Yeah, this moment in episode 9 just completely almost out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh fuck. Like, you weren't expecting that. But overall, the show it's a very uneven show, because like it opens up as like this legal procedural with Matt Murdock kind of moving on after an incident. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's an incident that happens, and then the show takes a 1-year time jump, and now he's in a new practice, and he's trying to not be Daredevil anymore. He's going to let the law do what the law does, and consequences be damned. It's a new procedural where he's going to defend the guy who is the White Tiger. Yeah, I think he's the White Tiger. I can't remember. But he has like this mystical amulet that lets him summon the spirit and the aura of animals. Like, if he wanted to, he could be like the spirit of an elephant, and he can have the strength of an elephant and just go charging through shit. But he always maintains his size.
Okay.
The character eventually in the comics hands off their title and their amulet to their niece. In this case, that character gets killed by corrupt cops. So like he
Damn.
Matt defends him. They get him off, and he goes free, and then corrupt cops kill him.
Oh, jeez.
And it's very heavy-handed. The reason I didn't want to talk about this show too much is it relates a little too one-to-one parallel with modern events. It's uncanny that this show in probably a year, they're going to be like, how did they know? Like, are they the Simpsons? Like, no, it's just obvious that this shit's going to happen because that's what happens when you put criminals in charge. So I didn't want to talk about it too much because I didn't want to go too deep into those weeds.
Yeah.
If you lean a certain way in the political spectrum, you're probably going to think this is a political satire against your guy. It's not. This is shit that's happened in the comics. It's very accurate to the comics. It just happens that real life is imitating art right now because everyone who has a fucking brain knows what happens when this shit happens. Okay. And that's all I'll really say about that side of the story.
A quick question about Kingpin. I didn't watch Echo. Is he missing an eye?
No, I think the show is also basically just kind of disregarding Echo.
But didn't he get shot in the face in
they
Hawkeye?
Acknowledge it. Yeah, there's in the diner scene that they showcased for one of the trailers with Matt and Kingpin just sitting down having dinner, which I think that's episode 1. Yeah. Maybe it's episode 2.
Did he duck?
He's like, hey, they're talking about like the shit that's gone wrong for them since they last met. And Matt's like, hey, I heard you took on an apprentice or like an underling. How did that work out for you? He's like, not great. And then he goes, yeah, I heard she shot you in the face. He's like, yeah, that happened.
But like, there's no scar or anything?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he just has really good surgeons.
I mean, that makes sense. Second question. So is this Netflix's Daredevil continuation, or is this like alternate Daredevil continuation? Or is this
like a little in both worlds? Okay. Like almost like Marvel's Daredevil has always existed and like he had a very similar storyline, but they didn't acknowledge anything beyond like the Punisher stuff from season 2 and 3. There's no like dragon bones holding up New York like in the Defenders or anything like that. It's like I don't know how far that goes with like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones or anything like that.
But Punisher's back though, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
Same actor, John Barenthal.
Yes. They do the thing that I'm surprised. I shouldn't say I'm surprised because they do the political thing without any sense of irony. They also do the Punisher thing without any sense of irony, where there's a whole slew of cops who are like, the Punisher's my hero. The Punisher wouldn't take shit from the bad guys. And then the Punisher kills an entire room of those guys because it's like, you're fucking shit. And he like uses their adoration to his benefit too, because he gets caught out a couple of times. And he's like, hey man, yeah, you got me. Good for you. You want an autograph? You want to shake my hand? Because like you clearly love me. Like you're wearing my gear. You're doing shit that you think I would do, right? You're my kind of guy. Yeah. He's like, yeah, man, it's a real honor to meet you. And then he like breaks his arm and steals his gun and keeps killing more guys. Because that's what the Punisher would fucking do.
Yeah. I have another question for you. Daredevil 1, season 1, Netflix, pretty damn near perfect. Mm-hmm. Pretty damn good. Season 2, pretty good. 3,
diminishing returns.
Very much diminishing returns. Good return, bad return. Season 2,
it's an okay return. Definitely better than season 3, I think. But like I said, it's a little uneven for the most part. Just because it is much more procedurally focused and it's much more focused on Matt as a character and not so much Daredevil. I think there are maybe a grand total of 5 Daredevil sequences throughout the entire show. Some of them are pretty extended. Like I think a good portion of the last half of episode 9 is pretty much almost all Daredevil.
No,
but over the course of the 9 episodes, like almost 9 hours, you probably get 90 minutes of Daredevil stuff.
Huh. All right. So
maybe 10%. And I think part of that is budgetary restraints because they went through so many rewrites. They couldn't quite figure out some of the action sequences.
Yeah, I heard that like season 5, not season 5, episode 5 or so, it's something like it's in a bank or a library or something.
Yeah, that's actually a really good episode.
So what's funny about that is I heard that episode was good, and then everything I read was that the producers said, yeah, that's like the one episode we kept untouched from the original shootings.
I think that makes sense because there are some big MCU tie-ins that happen there.
Okay, so they are acknowledging, unlike Netflix, that this exists in the MCU.
Yeah, and it's not really it's not really like a huge spoiler, but in that bank episode, the bank employee that Matt is dealing with to try and get like a stay over loan for his firm is Kamala Khan's dad, Yusuf Khan.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, he shows up and he has like a little custom Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel action figure. And so he's just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm from Jersey City. We've got our own superhero, Ms. Marvel. You know, she's really great. And by the way, I have a daughter. And Matt's just like, I'm sure she's great. I'm sure I've never heard of Ms. Marvel, but you know, happy to hear you guys have a hero. And he's just like super being dad without trying to be over obvious about anything.
Is there any acknowledgement that he met Peter Parker's at one point?
No, unfortunately. This show does more touching on the expanded universe of the MCU than I think like any Marvel thing has done previously, though, in terms of like post Endgame, because Jack from Hawkeye is back. He shows up in a couple of episodes. They do mention a man who dresses up like a spider in one of the things. And then they also talk about there's one other guy I can't remember, but like there's another callback in one of the episodes where it's like, oh hey, it's that guy from Ms. Marvel or one of these other shows.
Okay.
The one thing I think I was most disappointed about was the fact that they just completely disregarded She-Hulk. Like they didn't do anything where Matt took a hiatus to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah, because I was going to ask that because from what I understand, his outfit in this one is more of a traditional Daredevil, just solid red outfit, and not the like red yellow that he had briefly in She-Hulk.
Yeah, they went back, I think, because they wanted to make sure people understood that it is a continuation of the Netflix series. They went back to the Netflix style of suit.
Okay.
Like there's improvements to it, but overall it's just more or less the same suit.
Okay. Well, I'll add it to my backlog.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's a must see. I would say if you're invested in the MCU, you should watch it because it's definitely one of the better put together shows, because among other things, it's not like they went, oh man, he was Daredevil, then this thing happened, but by episode 9 he's Daredevil again. Like it's not like a slow burn towards it. Like by the middle of the season, he's back, he's Daredevil, he's doing his thing again. But it is much more a Matt Murdock show than it is Daredevil.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. My thing is that so many of especially with you pointing it out, I realize how many of the damn Marvel shows or movies are about, and then they became the hero they're meant to be, which is the arc of every damn MCU Spider-Man project, which is going to be
they
the
just
arc.
borrowed that formula for all their TV shows.
Which is going to be the arc of the fourth one, because no one remembers him because of the Doctor Strange spell. So he's going to have to show the world. Or maybe that one's going to be, and then
everyone remembers Spider-Man, but yeah, now it's going to be, and now he's Peter Parker.
But man, I do love Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Like any version of him we've seen, like the Netflix version was perfect. The Hawkeye version was different, but great. Like you still, even though they kept that really grounded, that this Kingpin is just really unusually strong.
The Hawkeye version, I think, is probably the most comic accurate version of Kingpin we've gotten so far.
Right.
Besides the Michael Clark Duncan from Ben Affleck's Daredevil,
which was really good. Like
that one was almost pitch perfect.
Yeah. I mean, in the Hawkeye, he gets creamed by a car and then kind of dusts himself off. And I'm like, yeah, that's Kingpin. All right. I'll give it a shot. Ask me in a few months. I'll watch it.
If it takes you as long, well, I mean, you've got 9 hours to watch instead of almost 3 compared to Wicked. So, yeah, we'll see you next year. Just before season 2 comes out. Yeah, this is a lot of fun, Alex. We we probably should have talked a little bit about Star Wars Celebration, but we've already gone over our hours. So we're not going to do that just because Star Wars is so frustrating. We love it, but good God, they need to just slow their shit down.
Hey, they announced another movie.
Will it get made?
Probably not.
I mean, they actually have a cast announcement for Star Wars. We're doing Top Gun, but this time without Patty Jenkins. Star Wars, was it Star Wars Starfighter?
Oh my gosh, you're right. I realized that the one Patty Jenkins was working on was like supposed to be called like
Rogue Squadron.
But yeah, this one's just called Starfighter, which is another Starfighter. I believe was it a PC game in like the 90s? I think. Because Rogue Squadron was a game I played all the time because you could unlock the Naboo Starfighter and you could unlock the Millennium Falcon. It was great. I played it on my N64. But I think Starfighter was like a 90s one because there was like X-Wing and I think X-Wing, Y-Wing, TIE Fighter. There might have been just Star Wars Starfighter. But yeah, you're right. This is the Patty Jenkins one.
I think they just reskinned it, and maybe they're doing something a little different because I think the Patty Jenkins one was supposed to be set in that glorious middle of the Star Wars timeline between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, where I think it's supposed to be like the first X-Wing group of rebellion fighters. Now this one is set like 5 years after Episode 9, I think I heard them say.
Yeah, so right around Mandalorian time.
Yeah, it's being directed by Sean Levy, and it's starring Ryan Gosling. I don't know. I just it's hard to get excited for this because Star Wars confuses me now. After Skeleton Crew, I'm kind of confused as to like what I should expect from a Star Wars thing because we finished the Skywalker saga. However you may feel about it, maybe we'll discuss it later this year since we are now 10 years into the sequel trilogy era. But Skeleton Crew has kind of messed with my brain about how I'm supposed to look at Star Wars because Mandalorian was like Star Wars, but a Western. But then it started tying back into the macro Star Wars universe of like, oh, there's Luke Skywalker and there's Ahsoka and there's all these other things that are happening that just so happen to be happening in the Mando's life. But like season 1 was really fun because it wasn't attached to any of those things. Like we were on Tatooine, we recognized Tatooine, and there was a few other things going on, but it was mostly separate. It was its own thing other than like the Empire, remnants of the Empire still being there. With Skeleton Crew, I don't know if that movie was, or that show was supposed to be like a fairy tale within the Star Wars universe, or if it was a story that like, and now these kids have made their own story. Like the ending was really weird. And it doesn't tie into anything because it's Star Wars, so you're waiting for the tie-in moment. None of that happens. And so I'm left thinking like, then what was the point? Other than to just tell a different kind of story set in the Star Wars universe. You haven't trained me for this. It's like when you're working an IT job and then all of a sudden they say, hey, you need to go lift this big heavy thing. You're like, I work IT. I don't do lifting.
So this is really fun. Star Wars Rogue Squadron was announced in May of 2020 to be released in December 23, Christmas Day.
It was pre-Wonder Woman 84.
Mm-hmm. So this one has been announced basically May of 25 for May of 2027. We'll see if this one comes out.
Well, I think with Sean Levy being attached to it as well as Ryan Gosling, because almost everything else that they've announced, they go director, name of movie. There's never a cast involvement. With Ryan Gosling being involved, I think there is more credence to this movie actually coming out. But then there's also Mando and Grogu coming out next May. Like they even had like a trailer or like a sizzle reel for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also announced another one coming out those are the two like confirmed movies that are going to be coming out in the next 2 years, which
we'll see.
Weirdly, both of them also come out 3 weeks after the two Avengers movies coming out.
Really?
We have Avengers Doomsday next year, May 2nd, May 4th, whatever that may be. 3 weeks later, Mando and Grogu comes out. 2027, Avengers Secret Wars comes out on May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, whatever that first Friday is of May. That 3 weeks later, Star Wars Starfighter is now coming out.
I was right. Star Wars Starfighter is part of that like TIE Fighter X-Wing series. It is about Naboo starfighter pilots carrying out missions against against the Federation.
That was GameCube, wasn't it? Like GameCube era, GameCube, Xbox, PS2.
Yep, exactly. PC, PlayStation, Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation 3.
PlayStation 3, really?
Got a remaster a few years later.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing those cases, at least for the GameCube, when I worked at GameStop. The GameCube was like just at the end of its life cycle by the time I got there. All right, Alex, we went an extra like 10 minutes with that. So we'll see what I can edit this down to. Damn you, Star Wars. So, Alex, let everyone know where they can join in on the conversation, where they can help us get ready for episode 200 coming in just 3 short weeks now, where they can submit Talking Smackdowns. They can do all those things and more. Where can they do that?
You can do it on our Discord. It is tsmackpod@gmail.com. And you need to go down to the forces with this one and tell us about your memories of Rogue Squadron. Were you like me, really disappointed that you unlocked the Millennium Falcon and found out that the camera angle was locked in place, and so it took up like 2/3 of the screen, so you kept crashing into the ground constantly trying to make it do flips? Also,
that would be in the video games category of our Discord.
Apparently both, according to Matt, because it's about Star Wars, it goes in Star Wars, and it's a video game, so it goes in there. I mean, I don't know anymore. Do I post a superhero trailer? Do I post it in a movie? Do I post it in superheroes? Do I post it in the MCU?
It can be in all three.
It can be in all three. And if I post it 3 times, Matt then corrects me about which one we're already talking about it. It's frustrating. But you know what? It is a fun place to be around. We talk about a lot of stuff. And
I vented about how I'm not excited for the Mario Kart World game because fuck open world games, and I don't need that in my Mario Kart. And I don't like the in-between races, the rolling start races, whatever they may be. Don't need them. Don't want them.
Isn't that just Grand Theft Auto?
It's, what the heck was it called? It's Cruisin' World.
Oh, yeah, Cruisin' World. San Francisco Rush.
Forza Horizon. That's the game that Matt keeps comparing it to.
Oh.
Which, like, again, if I want Forza Horizon, I'll play Forza Horizon. I don't want that in Mario Kart. Give me better battle modes. So you can join the Discord with the link in our episode description. You can find us on all the social media platforms at Talking Smack Pod on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Hive Social, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Email us your thoughts, questions, reviews, Smackdown suggestions at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes and Beppo for our original avatars, Retro Studios for our Ricky avatar. Thank you to Joey Fitzgerald for our thumbnails. Please like, subscribe, rate, review on your podcatcher of choice. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out. If you're in the Rockford area, you know where Cataclysm Games is. We're going to be there May 17th, 2 p.m. We're going to start recording. We're going to do a live Talking Smackdowns episode to celebrate 200 episodes. We'll hang out for a little bit beforehand and maybe a little after. We'll see what time allows. But other than that, Alex, as always, thank you for being here. Thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to listen. But most importantly, Alex, Becky Lynch is doing a thing because you should be watching the thing she's going to be doing. What is the thing that people should be watching that Becky Lynch will soon be a part of?
Star Trek, baby. Watch Star Trek.
Who loves T-Smack?
I love T-Smack. Is it true? Mm-hmm. I do. Ooh.